Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this video, as you can tell by the title of the video, is basically going to be probably the video that I have been most excited to post ever on my channel, and that is because I am switching specialties. As you guys saw on my last video, I quit my last job because I got hired onto a new job and I'm so excited. If you guys are new here, I used to be in a surgical oncology unit as a new grad nurse. I graduated in I started February of 2020. Obviously, we're in February of 2021 and I am starting my new job. I actually started it today. So this video is gonna be about what unit I ended up transferring to, how I got the interview, how I got the job prior to even finishing my year as a new grad nurse. And yeah, so if you guys are interested in finding out which unit I will be working in and all the details on how I got the job, then just keep watching. The new unit that I will be moving on to is going to be labor and delivery. Wow! So I am officially a labor and delivery nurse. I am so flippin' excited about this. I'm gonna be talking all about how I got this job, how I moved jobs, all of that jazz, like the interview. You guys, the story is so much fun. I love telling this story because everybody's like, what? And I'm like, I know. So you guys, I started looking for jobs probably at the end of last year. November, December. I think November is really when I started sending out my resume, like seriously looking for jobs. I had been considering it, but of course as a new nurse, you're like, can I leave? Am I allowed to leave? Every single job that I looked at said I needed a year of experience to leave, or I needed a year of experience in the field to get into. I needed a year of experience, needed to finish my residency, like all that stuff. Every single job that I was looking for. And obviously I can't apply for new grad nurse positions anymore because I'm not a new grad anymore since I have officially been in a residency program. So I know that not every single state does residencies, not every country does residencies. I do get a lot of messages about that. But where I'm from, you do a residency your first year of nursing, and that's literally just your first year of nursing. And what you get from a residency is a lot of support. And as a nurse resident, that just basically states that you're within your first year of nursing. So when I started looking for jobs, all of the positions said you needed a year of experience in whatever unit you got hired onto, or you needed to complete your nurse residency program. So I was looking for jobs, and like I said, every single job that I was looking at said I needed a year of experience. And I talked about this a little bit in my last video. I decided to change specialties for many different reasons. I kind of had a little chat with you guys in the last video on how difficult last year was for me and how difficult it was as a new nurse in the pandemic and all that. It was just mentally and physically exhausting. I just felt like I wasn't myself, and I just felt like I was getting burnt out. And a lot of you guys have been DMing me as new grads and you're like, I feel the exact same way. What am I gonna do? I felt the same way. So you know what I did? I fixed up my resume and I started applying to jobs. So when I first started looking for labor and delivery jobs, there were no positions that were for new nurses or nurses changing specialties. Every single position said labor and delivery experience required for 2 years. Every single position, like every single hospital that I went to, but that I applied to, said I needed 2 years of labor and delivery experience. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, I don't have that. But you know what? I don't care, I'm gonna apply. So what I did was I started applying to every single job that said I needed 2 years of experience. I didn't only apply to labor and delivery, I applied to, I think I ended up applying to like OR. I ended up applying to, I don't know if I ever ended up doing mother baby, I might have, mother baby, but I honestly, my true goal was always to be a labor and delivery nurse. And I talked about this a lot in like my videos as a student. In my videos when I first started, when you guys would ask me like what kind of nurse I would be, I always said that I wanted to end up as a labor and delivery nurse, but I did want it personally. I wanted to get skills before moving into that because that is such a specialized field. And I wanted to have background on a lot of different things before moving into labor and delivery. I just personally thought I would end up being a labor and delivery nurse years from now, not literally a year later. But back to the story. So I started applying, sending my resume. I got reference letters. I had one recommendation letter from my clinical supervisor at my last job. She was the flippin' bomb. She was my charge nurse. She was basically the nurse that helped me not hate my life and helped me to transition as a new nurse into, you know, just basically she just helped me a lot. She was basically my mentor. And yeah, so she wrote a letter of recommendation for me, which of course I used that and sent that to all of my applications. So I started applying, sending my application literally everywhere. I was like, will anybody take me? So I applied to the specific hospital for labor and delivery, requirement 2 years, declined. And every single time I applied, because there was like different locations, every single one that I applied to, I would get a denial letter literally the day after it would be declined. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't care that you declined me. I'm gonna apply again. So I would literally apply, get a decline, apply, get a decline, apply, get a decline, apply, get a decline. Like literally, they probably knew my name at that point, because every single time I applied and I got denied, I just applied again. Like, you know how they say like, don't, like to be annoying and in the end it might pay off. I was like, well, what do I have to lose? Like they're never gonna talk to me. All they can keep doing is declining me. So I'm gonna keep applying. So I continuously sent my application to this place. And I got, I don't know how many declines, but I got so many declines from not only this hospital that I really wanted to work at, but a lot of other hospitals I applied to. And then one day I was working night shifts and I was looking at my emails and I had an interview email in my email, and it was from my dream hospital, like the hospital that I really wanted to get into. And this is on I don't even know. I was so excited. I literally read that email over and over and over and over and over. And I was like, do they need to send this to me? Was this for somebody else? What is going on here? And she basically just said if I can schedule myself for a phone interview with her whenever I had the chance. So of course I went ahead and I did that the next free day that I had. I interviewed with her, and this was an interview with the HR, with the recruiter, or yeah, I guess it's like an HR recruiter. And I interviewed with her, and I think it was like a week later that I was interviewing, or like 3 days late. I don't remember. It was like 3 or 4 days after I got the email that I was gonna interview. So at that point I was going ham on interview questions, interview videos. I was just going over and over and over in my head. And it's so funny because I was literally doing this exactly a year ago, well, a little bit longer than a year ago, to get my job in the first place. But the thing that I felt like really made a difference between as a new grad and as now is the confidence that I had and the ability to basically tell them what I was worth. Like, you need me because of this. Like, you want me because of this. And I wouldn't say that specifically, like, you need me, you want me. I would just say, I was just very confident in everything that I did. Every question that they asked me, I responded with so much confidence because I know what I'm worth, and I know that I'm a great nurse. I know that every single time I step into the floor, no matter what I'm doing, I give 100%, 110%. Even things that are tedious and that I don't want to do and that I could easily avoid, I always go and I always do. So a lot of the questions that they asked me, I just always responded with a lot of confidence. I made sure that I didn't sound like I was like questioning what I was saying. I was just very confident in what I was saying. And a lot of the responses that I gave, if you guys are curious as to like how I interviewed you, I can make a completely different video about this, but I can talk about it a little bit, of course, with you guys. But a lot of the questions that they asked me, I just made sure that I showed that I was a very good teammate. I was very good at communication. I was not afraid to fight for my patients, because that was a huge thing. And that is how I am as a nurse in general. I just am not afraid to call a doctor and be like, hey, something is wrong, you need to get here. Like, when it comes down to my patients, I will fight, and it doesn't matter how the doctor responds to me. Like, I know what I'm doing, and I know this is for somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, I'll fight for somebody else faster than I'll fight for myself. So that's really how I focused my interviews. I watched, like I said, a lot of interview videos. I focused a lot more on like labor and delivery questions, because I figured that they might ask me. They didn't end up asking me really any labor and delivery questions. They asked me more, I don't know what that style is called. They told me what it was called, but it's basically like the situation questions. Like, they'll say, name a time where you had to step over a doctor, name a time that you had to step over a supervisor, name a time that you, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I practiced a lot of like situation questions, and I thought of a lot of different scenarios, and I had a lot in my head prior to the interview, and a lot of different stories, mostly that I can use in different ways for different questions. So that's really how I focused like my interview prep. So yeah, I had the interview with the HR recruiter, and it's funny because I know I told you guys that they were requiring 2 years of experience. How did I get an interview? If I was barely 11 months in, had no labor and delivery experience. You guys might be wondering, how did you even get the interview in the first place? So when I talked to the recruiter, she was like, hey, this is blah, blah, blah. I'm, working for this hospital, and you're gonna have to be a little bit patient with me because I'm normally interviewing nurses with experience in the field, with experience in labor and delivery. And I was like, oh, so how did you end up interviewing me, like, changing specialties? And she's like, well, the director decided that she wanted to hire two new interns for this batch starting in February, which is literally next month. Like, I interviewed in January and I got the job in January, and I'm starting the job in February. Like, it was really close. So she's like, she just decided that she wanted to hire a few new interns. So this is really out of my comfort zone. I'm not normally hiring interns. I'm normally hiring experienced nurses. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. Like, what are the odds that, first of all, they didn't even repost the job position as like a new intern or as nurses changing specialties. They kept it as 2 years of labor and delivery experience. The thing is, I didn't care about that, and I sent my application in a bunch of times. So she ended up, the director of the unit actually ended up deciding, you know what, let's hire 2 new interns. So that includes new grad nurses and nurses changing specialties, and that's how I ended up getting the job. So I interviewed with the HR recruiter, and then the next week I had an interview with the actual supervisors of the unit. And I had an interview, it was a panel of 3. 2 of them were supervisors, 1 of them was the director of the unit, and it was the best interview I've ever had. The interview lasted an hour, and basically for the first 20 minutes, she basically explained the unit, the specifics of the unit, which I can kind of tell you guys about. She kind of told us that I will only, my job is to really obviously focus on labor and delivery. Once mom delivers a mother baby nurse actually watches over the baby. Sometimes I will, but most likely it'll be a mother baby nurse, and I will just recover mom and help mom recover. That also includes C-sections, so I will also be like circulating in C-sections, surgeries, and I'm so excited. I'll also be rotating between OB triage, which would be so cool, high-risk pregnancies. I can't even remember right now, but I have everything written down. I wish I would have found it before I started the video, but I'll probably explain this a lot more once I actually start the position. But yeah, it's like super exciting because I've always wanted OR experience, and I'll be able to do labor and delivery, and I'll be able to be in the OR while they do C-sections, which is insane. And she told me that sometimes I will have to care for baby, but most likely mother baby nurse takes care of baby, and I'll just help recover mom. And she said that a lot of the times after OR, moms that have gone through C-sections, they actually get transferred to a PACU, but we won't be using PACU. We actually recover our own moms, which is really cool. So it'll be a 2-to-1 nurse ratio, or 2 patient to 1 nurse ratio. And once mom is fully delivering, then it's a 1-to-1, which is so cool. So a lot of like the interview was her explaining the position, and a lot of the other nurses explaining the position. And what I loved about this interview is that not only did their like interpretation of this interview wasn't, this is why should we hire you? It was also like, this is why you should come work with us, because we have this, we're a great team, we have this kind of scheduling, this kind of pay, which is, by the way, a pay increase. A pay increase for something that I'm actually gonna like love even more and be happy to work in. But I really loved how like that was like the mood of the interview was more like, this is why we need a mutual relationship. Like, let's see if we blend together. It wasn't just, why should we hire you? Like me on the spot. It was also like, this is why you should come work with us. But yeah, that's basically how I got the interview, which is crazy how they ended up switching the position for a new intern when they were originally hiring for an experienced labor and delivery nurse, and they kept declining me. I kept applying, and it just makes me so happy. And I did a Q&A today on my Instagram stories, and a lot of you guys were telling me that you're in surgical oncology and you don't know if you like it, you don't know if you enjoy being a nurse anymore. You guys, the world is like, the nursing world is so big. You don't have to stay anywhere. This goes for everybody, not just people in oncology, but the nursing world is huge. Prepare your resume and send it out. If you don't qualify, apply. If you don't qualify, apply. This is how I landed my dream job. I didn't qualify and I still applied. I kept applying, I kept applying, I kept applying, and I ended up getting the job. I ended up getting an interview and the job. So I just want this to be kind of more like an inspiration for you guys that feel like you're struggling, feel like you're stuck. You're not stuck. You are not stuck. I ended up talking to my last manager, and basically told her this is where my heart was, and that last job is just affecting me too much mentally and I couldn't do it anymore. And she was very understanding, thankfully, and I ended up leaving the unit, put in my 2 weeks, and I had a week break. I ended up going on vacation with my family, not really vacation, but going to go see some of my family in Florida that we hadn't seen in a while. And I just feel like I'm a new grad nurse all over again, and I'm so excited to get into the field. I just feel so empowered and so excited, and yeah. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already. If you guys have any extra questions, any other video requests, please leave them down below. I know you guys are still waiting for the precepting tips and tricks video, because a lot of you guys wanted that. And I promise that will be within my next few videos. But of course, since I got the job, I was like, hello, kick that out. This is more important. So I'm so excited to see where my channel ends up leading. I feel like this is gonna be a huge game changer for my YouTube channel, for my life, for my nursing life. And I'm so excited because all the next videos are gonna be mostly like a day in the life and explaining labor and delivery. I'm gonna be an intern all over again, which is so exciting because that means education all about labor and delivery, something that I'm so passionate in. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am because the content is gonna be amazing. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.